Hey guys, Ronin Man here. Why the hell do guys have to prove themselves? Like, why do we feel this need to undergo whatever challenges? I know, like in traditional societies, they often have these challenges that men have to do to prove themselves as a man, to go through whatever ritual transformation they need to go through to become a man. And I don't want to talk about that stuff today because everybody talks about that shit. I mean, I was in a fraternity. I had to prove myself. I had to go through hazing. But to me, this stuff is a joke. This stuff is a joke. Anything that a culture does, anything that many, many men do, to me is not, it's not what I'm talking about today. These are ritualized, very important, obviously. Men take this stuff very seriously, and cultures take this stuff seriously. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things that I had to do on my own, and I don't even know why I did them. Like, was I trying to prove myself that I was capable of doing something? Did I have a death wish? Or did I see something that just had to be done? And I had to do it. Or was I curious, was this possible? I don't know. I think it's a mix of all those things. So I'm going to talk about some things that I had to do as a man to prove myself to myself. So let's go back to my childhood. When I was a kid, I had a brother, a lot of friends, and I made up something called Dare's Trails, like dare to do something, right? So I had these things called Dare's Trails. And so basically what you had to do is follow me. So I was going to do something that was risky or dangerous. And then you had to do it also in the same way. So for example, if I was going to jump from a wall to the top of a chimney with my eyes closed, and then, balance on there, then I had to, you had to do that too if you wanted to finish the Dare's Trail, right? Now, I didn't always lead every single one. My brother would do some and my friends would do some, but looking back, it was like my idea. It was like my thing. Like, I was like, let's do it. Let's challenge, right? Let's go for it. And it really was not I want to get you guys this spirit because I admit when I do stupid things, like dumb things or, I really think truth and honesty is like a really important part of any kind of self-change. So if I was trying to like intimidate or show up guys or something, I would tell you that. But this wasn't like that. This was a very pure type of boy thing where I did want to win. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I wanted to win the Dare's Trail and I felt great satisfaction. But it was interesting when the other guys could do stuff too. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to win, so I would jump something or swim something or whatever. And then if we got to the end, I couldn't think of anything else to do. Then we would just think of something, right? Punching through a piece of wood or, going down a hill in a big wheel without your feet on the top, on the pedals, flying down the hill, jumping over something, whatever it is on a skateboard. So it could have been on a skateboard, bike, running, jumping, climbing, using a rope. It was a lot of things, right? So that was something that was a big part of my childhood. The Dare's Trails I don't think my parents even knew about them. They were like a secret thing. The boys had, and we never invited the girls because we knew that they thought this kind of stuff was stupid. Like it was just like not even on their radar to do something like this. Like of all the tomboys I knew, girls, none of them came on the Dare's Trails. We did a lot of stuff together. We did do a lot of adventuring, following through roofs, out of trees, off cliffs and stuff. But the Dare's Trails were a little different. They were more extreme, right? And we were proving something. We were proving something to each other. So when we all finished the Dare's Trail, we'd all smile. And then like we all did it, right? We were like, yeah, kind of like, we didn't high five, but we were just like, that was the feeling, right? So that was my first memory of something where I just had to prove myself for no reason. Because what was the reason for this shit? Like jumping onto a chimney, the top of a chimney from a wall, where if you fall, you're gonna, obviously, probably get injured. You're definitely gonna get something wrong. You make jammed finger, or bloody nose, broken arm. Something's gonna happen bad, right? You're jumping onto a chimney. But it was something we just had to do. So then as I got older, I started to see challenges in my life, and I personally felt, and I don't know if this is real or whatever, but it's just how I felt. I felt like there was nothing left to explore in America. Because I used to go to caves. I would always, if I found a cave, I would go in. If I found like a scary, there was a chemical factory that was abandoned in this area called the Tomato Fields near my house. And so we would sneak in there, but that wasn't quite exciting enough. So we had to sneak in at night, go in like at 3 a.m. into the chemical factory, or whatever the fuck it was, a water something, I don't know. They had chemicals and stuff in there, big things. And so it was like, we had to think of ways to kind of like make it more exciting, challenge ourselves in some way, because daytime wasn't enough. It had to be nighttime, right? Because then you could get cut because of glass everywhere and things like that. And so I started to see that, I guess as a young man, I just saw that I felt like there was no more challenges left. Like kind of everything had been done. Obviously that's not the case on any kind of rational basis, but there is also very much truth to it. There is a lot of truth. Like why did men go to the moon? Why did men go to not women? Why did Jacques Cousteau and the original, I forgot the name of the guy who originally discovered basically how to scuba dive and not get the psychosis and like not get the bends and things like that. It was all men. Always men trying to challenge these things, right? And again, I don't mean this as any kind of put down to women. This is just how men are built. We're just talking about men here. Why are men like this? Why do we do this? There's so much focus on our society on women. Like it's so interesting, every little aspect of women. But nothing about men is interesting, right? Men and women are very different in many, many ways. And this, I hypothesize, I theorize, at least for myself, in my own experience. And if you have different experience, I'm happy to hear that. If there are women listening, I know there's 7% women listening now. So if you've had this kind of feeling and experience, I would like to hear it and what it was exactly. What was the challenge and what was going on in your mind? But okay, so I just felt like at a certain age, I think also when you're a kid too, there's a lot of challenges that are out there, because you don't know a lot of stuff, right? So you have to figure it out. Like I used to try to swim as many laps as I could underwater. And I remember my record was 3.5 laps, the pool we had at our apartment, with no air, just under, swim to the other side, do a flip, turn underwater, and then come back the other side, come the other side. It was one of those like oval shaped pools, regular size oval shaped pools. I don't know what you call it, but 3.5 laps was a freaking lot of laps. And that was like, I felt like I was going to die the last lap and a half. 2 laps I could do, but the last lap and a half, I literally felt like I was going to die. But there was this challenge, and me and my friends would always challenge each other. How long could we go underwater? One of my friends, I remember we went to Yosemite. We went to Half Dome, and there was this long tunnel, and he had been there many times. This is my first time. And he said, "Oh, the tunnel's coming up. Hold your breath." We were in a bus, right? And a church bus or something. And or van or whatever. And he said, "Okay, hold your breath." And then the tunnel was like 3 minutes long. So it was like, he knew how long it was because the speed of the whatever the bus is driving, he knew. And so we had to hold our breath and try to go for the 3 minutes through the tunnel, right? But I didn't like that challenge because it's too easy to cheat. Because, when you're underwater, you can't cheat, right? There's no way to cheat. One thing I really didn't like is like there was a lot of, I felt like there was a lot of guys who didn't have the pure sense of adventure that I had as a kid, and also the sense of fair play. I would never cheat on a Dares trail. No fucking way. Like I wanted to challenge myself. It really was about challenging myself, and also camaraderie of my friends. And also when I did perform, I was rewarded, right? My friends would, and so that had to be real, right? So I didn't like these kind of challenges where I wasn't sure what I was dealing with here. Like the guy's name was Joe Slevkov, and I wasn't sure if he was actually secretly breathing because he did the whole tunnel. I think he did 3.5 minutes with no air. And I just thought that was impossible. That's a long time, 3.5 minutes. I couldn't do 3.5 minutes. I remember that. And I was wondering if anybody would, you know what I mean? Like I was thinking like, are these guys breathing somehow, But either way, so when I got old enough, I just, when I was like 20, 21, 22, I stopped drinking. I stopped using drugs. I got into a period where I was drinking too much. And I went to AA, and everybody knows that, right? So then I was like, all of a sudden, like life became new to me, fresh to me at this period. It was a really big deal for me, really big deal. Here I am, 22. I'm looking at life with fresh eyes, really fresh eyes. I was in college, university, whatever. I was bored out of my mind. I didn't feel any challenge. I didn't, and this is not the school's fault. This was me. I was not interested. I was getting a business degree, but I don't know. Just somehow it seemed very far away. Everything we were studying, like marketing at the time, it was, it was before the internet and all that. It just seemed very, like if you're going to work at like some kind of marketing company and like, there's nothing like, I didn't feel like there was anything like, like accounting, way to take accounting. And I liked economics actually, but I just didn't feel, I felt no challenge in school. And so I was like, this is not a challenge. And then a lot of my friends, like, we were all kind of like getting ready for life kind of thing. Nobody was, the only challenge people had was like drinking. How much could you drink or, things like that. Those were kind of, in a way, those were kind of challenges, the same kind of challenge I'm talking about. But so now I'm out of that. Now I'm kind of like, I'm in a new mindset. Every day when the sun comes up, things look fresh to me. Here I am, 22, right? It's like, fuck, things seem fresh to me. I'm looking at the sun. Like, today's kind of like that. It's a beautiful morning here in Thailand. And I was like, fuck, I got to get out there and do stuff. What do I want to do, And then I realized, like, at the time, Europe was a big challenge for me because I'd never been traveling overseas or done anything. So I started to challenge myself. I said, okay, this is a very minor challenge, but I bought a ticket and went to Europe. During Christmas vacation. Yeah, that's right. Christmas vacation, probably 1987. Yeah, Christmas vacation, 1987. I remember now. Yep, that was when it was. And so I bought a ticket to actually London, and I took the boat. Back then there was no tunnel. And I went to Paris, and I went to Spain to visit a friend. And that was a big challenge because that was new for me. I was something I had never done. Even like changing money was a big deal. Like I didn't know about currencies and I had never been on a subway before. So the French subway confused me. Like everything was new. It was all very exciting and very challenging. It was cold, and there was the French culture and that kind of thing. But it wasn't that big a challenge, but it was a good challenge for me at the time. I started going to Europe. I went 3 times. And that was it. That was kind of like the challenge was over. There was no more challenge. I had kind of seen a lot of Europe. And I'm like, fuck. Okay, so I come back to the States. Boom, finish school. What am I going to do? I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if you ever felt that way. I just have no idea. Like I just see like this empty road in front of me and I have no idea what I'm going to do, what I want to do, what I'm good at. I just don't know my life is I don't even know what the options are. You know what I mean? Like I was so young and I just didn't know. I had no idea. I think a lot of kids, they seem to know, like I want to be a doctor, or I want to be this, I want to be that. Man, for me, I didn't know, So I was like, okay, I do want challenge. Okay, that's for sure. I want fucking challenge. So what am I going to do? I met some girl at a nude beach in Greece on one of my trips, and she was Swedish. And so she was all serious, and I think she wanted to get married basically. And so I bought a ticket around the world, and the first place I went was to meet her. And I realized that if I stayed in Sweden with her, I was probably going to get married, you know. Here I am, like, so young, and I'm talking about getting married. In my mind, I was like 23 or whatever. And I'm like, no. Because honestly, this girl, I didn't even like her. It was the weirdest thing. She gave me sex and all that, and she was Swedish, and at the time that was a very exciting thing. You know, Swedish girl, Swedish girls. This is before Japanese porn. There was no Asian porn back then that reached the America. Everything was Swedish back then. Danish and Swedish, the porn, and there was some French. But so like Swedish girls were known for porn, if you can believe it. So strange now to think how long ago that was. But yeah, Swedish girls were known for porn and for sex. And so I had this idea that Swedish girls were going to be sexy, going to be hot. And so I got this Swedish girl. And then I thought, okay, can't stay here. I'm going to I already knew, Ronin man already knew that the trap of society was boring, not interesting. I didn't want to do it. There was nothing there for me. Like, what was I going to do? Like, buy her a ring and then become serious and then live with her and eat, Swedish meatballs? Like, what was the challenge there? I just didn't. There's no fucking challenge, man. That's like, what the fuck are guys doing with their lives? Like, they're just living they're in this walking dream is the best example I've heard explained, is that most men live their lives in a walking dream, in a haze, basically, not knowing what they're doing or why they're doing it. And I just hated that. I'm like, fuck this shit. Fuck this. I gotta do something. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what business I want to do. I don't know where I want to fucking do, but I need to fucking challenge myself and do something, right? So I continued around the world, and when I reached Asia in the 80s, that was big, man. That was new enough and fresh enough, and everything was different enough, and that I felt like this was a exciting moment and challenge. Everything from the languages to the cultures, the nature, the jungles, the snakes, the monkeys, the mountains, the caves that I found, all kinds of caves. Long story. Like, everything was just, this was the vivid fucking life that I was looking for. So it was two things, I guess. I was looking for a challenge, and I was also looking for some kind of life with some color and excitement. And I just did not feel that in America. I felt like everything was so bland already. Everything was already tamed. Everything had been done, And when I got to Asia in the 80s, I was like, fuck, man, this is hot, man. This is like, holy crap. Like, what the fuck, man? Everything was going on. I was in a bus accident, and like a bunch of people died, and I had some training as a lifeguard, so I was able to help some people. I put their heads back together. I ripped like the curtain off a bus, and I tied this guy's head was like scalped, like in those old Indian movies where they scalp the head. That's exactly what happens. The guy's head was open. You could see his brain. And so I put his head back together, and I tied it with a curtain. And he was still talking, Chinese guy. A bunch of people died in my bus. We hit this other bus, and then we went down this ravine into a river, our bus. And so everybody was freaking out. Everybody was completely catatonic. There was dead people everywhere. There was like blood everywhere. There's bodies all over the place because the other van that we hit like exploded when we hit it, because we were in a big bus, Chinese bus. And so there was bodies everywhere. Like the backs were like S's, glass and everything. And so I was out there, and I was the only guy. It seemed like, I was the only one that was like not catatonic. So I was out there helping them. I was completely normal. I was just like completely focused. Right? I'm like, how can I help this guy? How can I help this guy? How can I help this girl? And I was just doing like a medical technician or something. And that was really interesting for me, because I had never been in a big accident where people died before. It was my first one. And I always heard it was so traumatic, it was going to really, hurt you. For me, I didn't feel that way. I felt like I was totally, completely clear, absolutely like crystal clear. And I was able to be of use and help people. And that was really a cool feeling. That was another like realization. Like, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for challenges. I was looking for realizations. I was looking for an exciting life, a vivid life. So like, instead of a black and white picture, I wanted like an Indian movie, like where they're dancing and colors and music and all this stuff. This is what the kind of life I wanted, you know. I did not want that bland fucking McDonald's life. I just didn't want it. And so this bus accident was a very big thing, because all of a sudden I learned something about myself, that I'm very good in emergencies. Like, I'm really natural. Like, I'm very clear, you know, and I'm helping people. And like, I didn't realize that other people wouldn't be like that. And also, a lot of the bullshit, like, you're going to be traumatized from this, is going to hurt you. Hey, don't let anybody tell you that bullshit, because you don't know how you're going to react to stuff. So just go into things and be honest. Find out how you react, because you might be very good in it. Like, for myself, I was very good in that situation, and I could be very bad in another situation, right? So it's like interesting to find out about yourself. It's the most interesting challenge there is. And that's partly what, hopefully, you guys are on that road where you're finding out this stuff about yourself, not lying to yourself, right? Sitting around like most guys just fucking lie to themselves so bad, right? And you're trying to find out. I was trying to find out who I was. So I experienced that. Then just after that, I actually came very close to dying. The closest medically, you know, like a medical situation, I got very sick. My eyes turned yellow. There was no doctors that spoke English. I was on a small island in China called Hainan Island. And I don't remember 2 weeks. Like, I literally was so sick that I don't remember 2 weeks. And there was a Japanese girl I was sleeping with. She was my girlfriend in my room, and we had like really hot sex. I was like so excited about her. And she was really cool chick, actually, very kind. She was older. She was like, I think she was like 33 or something. Yeah. And so when I got sick, she was with me. I was so sick, you guys. I was so sick. I mean, I had been working. When I was in Sweden, I worked in a sawmill. I had to make money because I ran out of money. After I left the Swedish girl, I ran out of money. I went up north and I got a job. I met this other girl. Her dad owned a sawmill. I got a job in a sawmill, and I worked under the table, made a bunch of cash. But so I was lifting logs, driving trucks. I was strong, you know, muscles, you know, I was fucking super strong, right? Then when I got sick in China, I was still in very good shape. But I got so weak from the illness, the 2 weeks of insane fever and whatever the fuck was going on. I don't even remember, right? I got so sick that I could not, this is how weak my body got. I could not unbutton my pants. Like, unbuttoning my pants, my jeans or whatever it was, shorts, that was too much energy. I couldn't do it. And so I just shit in my pants. I could not even take my pants off. That's how tired I got. I was so tired I could not even take my pants off. And I remember this Japanese girl, she was so kind, you know, like I just shit in my pants. But I was awake, you know, and I could smell, and I just felt so bad. I just felt embarrassed, you know. I just felt, just laying there, and I thought, I didn't know if I was going to live or die. I was so weak. And she took my pants off. She washed me up. And even though I was so sick, like, I really appreciated that kindness that she had. And I think that, I don't know, I don't want to make that too big, but when I got to Hong Kong and finally saw a real doctor that spoke English, that was, you know, trained, and like, China was a mess back then, you guys. The Cultural Revolution just ended. Everything was crazy. It was just madness. The doctors had rusty needles, and it was mad. It was, when I went to the doctor, like, there was a rat licking blood off the operating table when I went to the hospital. There was more than one of the rats. They turned on the lights, and the rats ran off the fucking operating table. The syringe he was going to put in my ass, right, cheek, was covered in rust. Okay, that's how fucked up China was. So I was like, no way. I ain't going to get any medical care here. And I'm going to survive this on my own. And so thank God I did, actually, because that wouldn't have been good. But so then I got to Hong Kong. The doctor said, I don't know what happened to you, but I think you were very close to death. That's what he said. So whatever, that's what the doctor said. I felt that way, and maybe I was. I don't know. But either way, I survived it, and I never forgot the kindness of that girl, too. That was part of the reason why I ended up in Japan later, because I knew that a lot of girls on vacation, if they had a boyfriend who was as sick as I was, I literally couldn't get out of bed for 2 weeks, right? Except for we went to the hospital. We took a taxi. And I don't remember. I literally don't remember. Like that's how my fever was so high. 2 weeks passed in my life that I don't remember anything. That's so weird, right? And my body was so weak. And so, but I thought to myself, Japan is a good place. Like these people are nice because like on vacation, like who would do that, right? Change my shorts, wash my clothes, clean my ass. I mean, that's just fucking, it's just such a mess, right? So either way, so I finished my trip. Oh, no. So after that, so I went to the Philippines, and again, I started to get bored. I was on an island called Boracay, and on Boracay, there's a cave called Bat Cave. And so I heard about Bat Cave because there was nothing to do in Boracay. Now, I wasn't drinking. So everybody was drinking. It's like a holiday island, right? Everybody goes to Boracay and parties, right? Well, here I am not drinking. There's nothing to do for me. This is boring. There was at the time there was like nothing really open. There was in the daytime there was restaurants, like bamboo hut. We lived in a bamboo hut with no electricity, a candle or something, and but in the nighttime there was nothing to do because there was not even any bars really. There was restaurants serving spaghetti. I remember that. And beer. And there was like a floating bar out in the water that people would get drunk at and then come back in. But I was bored out of my mind. Like I was there for like 2 weeks, super, super bored eventually. And I tried to scuba dive or like find corals, but it was all sand. I was like, God, I'm bored. So I heard about this Bat Cave thing, and I love caves. So I went to Bat Cave with this Swedish guy, friend of mine, and when we got there, it was this crazy, amazing cave. Now, this is before, I don't know what it's like now. Maybe it's probably all walled off and tour guides and everything. But back then, it was just a wild fucking cave. Nobody at the entrance, just like so you got to the cave. Now, imagine this. I get to the cave. Here I am in the jungle. It's like blazing hot, right? It's like a total jungle, right? And I get to the cave, and you see it's just all dark, and then it goes straight down. It goes down, and all you hear is the sound of bats, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of bats squeaking like that, right? And so we thought, well, what do we do? We're going to go in, right? We didn't know if the bats were going to bite us. We didn't know shit about bats, right? We didn't know. There's like a bazillion bats, and we started to climb in the cave, but it was almost like a cliff. Like it was like you go in the cave, and it was quite steep. I remember that. It was slippery from bat shit. It was everywhere. So we're climbing down these rocks. We can't see anything. It's pitch black in there. And but I looked up at the ceiling, and for a second, my eyes adjusted. I could see near the entrance. I could see like millions of bats, like around the entrance. I was like, whoa, this is cool. So we didn't know what to do. So we just kept going down to the bottom of the cave, right? Well, we got down to the bottom of the cave, and we're sitting down there. It's pitch black. We can kind of see up to the light. And suddenly I realized that my feet were wet. So we're on an island, right? And we knew the Bat Cave was kind of near the edge of the island because we had walked all the way across. It's a small island, right? So we get to the edge, and there's Bat Cave. We go in, and my feet are wet. And so I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And so the water comes in. And then I looked down at the water, and after a while, my eyes adjusted, and I could see that the water was not completely dark. It was a little bit blue. So that meant that there was a light, that the water, we were on the edge of the island, so the water connected to the ocean somewhere, And so me and this guy, we decided we were going to, this is crazy challenge, man. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. We decided we're going to swim, from the fucking cave out to the ocean. No tanks, no nothing, no fucking mask, nothing. We're in bathing suits, t-shirts, probably sandals, flip-flops, right? Or shoes, whatever. My white socks I used to wear back then. So okay, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to swim. It's going to be a long swim, right? Now, I was a very good swimmer. I was a very, very natural swimmer. Okay, so I'm an extremely good swimmer. And I grew up in the ocean, and I'm very confident. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. However long it is, I can fucking do it. So I go down, I just like take a breath, and I start swimming, right? Down the tunnel, right? It's like basically a tunnel. So there's no way to get air once I left the cave. That was it. Okay, so I'm swimming down this tunnel, and I'm thinking like as I'm going to get to, the outside of the island, right? So, well, if you know how islands are, they're basically shaped like a pyramid because the water kind of erodes away the dirt and rock underneath an island. So it kind of goes up like it goes up like a pyramid, right? At an angle. And so I didn't really know that at the time. And I started swimming, and it was a lot longer than I thought, right? So there was light, but it was like far away, right? So I started swimming, and I'm just like, holy crap, this is like really far. So I've been swimming for a couple of minutes now, and I'm not even to the part where the island starts to curve up yet. I'm still on the flat part underneath the island because the water had eroded underneath. So it was almost like the island was like kind of balancing in the air. It's interesting. So I'm swimming. I'm just like, I'm like, holy crap, man. And I see ahead of me, I can see that the island starts to curve upwards. And so I'm like, oh, gotta get there. And I started, and then it was just like, I remember the period from the flat part to the curved part. Oh, that was so long. Holy crap, that was a long ways. And I finally started to like come up. And then when I started to come up, I realized I was deep in the water. Like, I don't know how many meters I was, but definitely, I don't know. I do a lot of scuba diving, so I can't really say. You guys can go scuba dive this and find out how deep it was with tanks. I don't know how many meters. It was more than 20 for sure. So it was more than 20 meters, 60 feet. It was pretty deep. Not extremely deep, but it was pretty deep. So I started to come up, and I see the top. I'm like, I gotta make it, and then, pooh, come out, and then I'm just like, and I see, and I'm outside. I'm like, yes, I made it, right? So I'm looking out at the island, but the island is actually really far away. So it's strange. Like you kind of pop up and you're like far away from the island, and so then I'm sitting there, so I'm just in the ocean, just, by myself. And I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? And I knew there was a lot of snakes on the island and everything. And I had bare feet because I had left my footwear I had left in the cave, right? So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to swim to the island and then climb over the fucking sharp coral and the fucking rocks and snakes and stuff? Or am I going to, the jungle, there's no trail, right? It's just like, imagine like you're in the middle of the ocean, you're looking over at an island, it's just jungle, okay, at the time, right? So I'm like, that did not look inviting to me. And also I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could swim down and back into the cave, right? Because that's the real challenge. Like coming up was big, but down is like huge, right? So I'm like, fuck, I gotta do it. And why did I have to do it? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I honestly, guys, I have no idea why I had to do that. This was the craziest, stupidest thing. I mean, like, literally, I had barely survived coming up, and now I'm going to go down. So I'm just like, okay, fuck. So I grab a breath. I start going down, and I don't even know. I didn't even have a scuba license yet, so I didn't even adjust my nose or know how to adjust my nose. I must have done it naturally or whatever, because it's pretty deep, right? 20 meters, let's say 60 feet, whatever. So I'm going down. I'm trying to go down first and then go sideways, right? I figured I'll do the hard part first and then I'll go sideways. So instead of like follow the trail, but I ended up doing it anyway. But I start swim back. And when you go down, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. Have you ever done, like, there's a great movie called Le Grand Bleu, which is these guys that go down, French guys. A great movie. Fuck, I love that movie. I did that naturally. I did that Le Grand Bleu stuff on my own, by myself, where you try to go down as far in the ocean as you can. without any tanks or whatever. And I used to do that all the time. I saw the movie. I'm like, holy fuck, that's me. That's what I did. I'm like, that's cool, man. Some French guys are fucking awesome. Like French guys, some French guys are so adventurous, man. And I really I'm just those kind of mountaineering type of motherfuckers I can really relate to. They understand me. And so I'm going down, I'm going sideways, and I started to swim, and the challenge was kind of too big. Like it was too long. And I started to panic because I was down. Now I'm down so deep and I'm so far into the island that I realized that there's no way I can go back now. And I started to realize that I can't see the cave. Like I'm trying to go back to the cave, but it's impossible to see the cave because as you look up, when you look up at rock above you, okay, everything looks like a cave. Like there could be 1 millimeter of space and it looks like a cave. So I would go up, bang my face and my nose against rock, and there was no air to breathe. It was like 1 millimeter of air. It's like a little bubble, slight bubble sideways under the rocks. So I freaked out and I started to kick really hard. And I remember I kicked my foot and I looked back and there was like a huge trail of blood behind me. I could see because it's 150 foot by visibility, so crystal clear in Philippines. And I thought, oh shit, I hope there's no sharks around here. So I'm swimming down. And now I'm completely out of air. I've been swimming for a long, long time. And I'm deep, because when you go deep without air, that's what I was going to say, like Grand Blue, when you go deep, what happens is your lungs compress and the air compresses. So the amount of air you have on the surface, so how long you can hold your breath at the surface and how long you can hold your breath deep underwater are completely different. So it compresses. You have a lot less air when you go down. So that's the other thing I was fighting against. I had very little air because coming up was different. I had started with a lot of air, right? Actually, you know what? It must have compressed when I went into the water coming up too. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Either way, so I'm coming down, no fucking air. I realized I can't go back. And then I freaked because I realized that I couldn't find the way out. I couldn't see it. Everything looked like a cave to me. Everything looked like an opening. So every time I came up and touched the rock, it was just like rock. There was no air. There wasn't even enough to breathe. I thought there was going to be like at least a millimeter or something a centimeter that I could get a little bit of breath and then keep going from bubble to bubble. That was kind of my plan. That didn't work. There was no air. And also I smashed my face because the ocean was moving around too. And I smashed my face against the rock so hard, I almost knocked myself out. So I'm like, fuck this. So I'm going to make this without air. So I started to go, I thought, I don't have a choice. I can't go back now to the ocean. I have to keep going into this cave because it was this huge cave, right? I mean, it wasn't like a cave even. It was just this underwater. You're underneath an island. Just imagine there's like this huge rock above you. And I'm looking for the cave. I can't find it. And just when I was about to run out completely of any kind of energy or go blackout or whatever, I like, okay, this is one thing I have that it saved me a couple of times in my life. When I completely am in a situation where I've pushed past everything I'm capable of, there's nothing left. Like I don't have anything rationally left. There's no air left. There's no energy left. There's no time left. But I have this capacity to slow myself down. And this is what saved my life. So I realized that my life, I was going to die. I was going to die here in the Philippines under Bat Cave. And so I thought, okay, before I die, I'm going to make one last chance. So I just totally relaxed. I completely forgot about everything. I just relaxed completely. And I thought, okay, look again. Look for the cave again. And I did. And I looked very calmly. I remember to my left, I looked over and I saw my friend's foot in the water. Now you would think that would be obvious, but it's not. It's like there's so much to see down there. There's so much, you have no air. It's like it's almost like so I saw his foot. I'm like, that's his foot. So that's the cave. So I started swimming towards it. Boom. I came into the cave and then the sound of the bats and everything was just fucking amazing, man. It's just like, and I felt this like euphoria, man. It's like this, I did it. Like, I don't know. This to me is a challenge, okay? A man's challenge. A man's challenge is not what other people say, okay? Other people say jumping out of an airplane is some kind of challenge with a parachute. That's not a fucking challenge to me. That's a business. Okay, it's been done a million times before. A challenge is when there's a good chance you're not going to make it. And you don't know if anybody has done this before. That to me is a challenge. So you don't have anybody to judge it on, and you don't know if it's even possible. And the penalty is death. That's a challenge. That's what I consider a challenge. When I talk about challenges, that's a challenge. That's what I consider a challenge. Those are my criteria for challenges. So when I came out, I had this enormous satisfaction. And I just felt great. You know, I just felt so proud of myself. I was like, damn it. Because it wasn't just the air. It wasn't just the swimming. It was that ability to relax in the end. It was like the shape I was in, the ability to keep my mind, you know, clear. And just, I challenged myself on every level. I was so proud of myself. The rest of the time in Bat Cave, in Bork Island was fucking awesome. The rest of the Philippines was great. And that was something. Why did I have to do that? Like, that is so insane. I don't understand why I had to do that as a man. And I was reading this article today about this guy who's crossing Antarctica on his own. You can read about it. He's reached Antarctica, now he has to finish it, right? Second half. And nobody's ever made it all the way across. So he's 33 years old, American guy. He's trying to do it. And I looked at him and I thought, why is he doing that? And then that made me think of this episode, because I don't know why he has to do that. I don't know why I had to swim out of Bat Cave and back into Bat Cave. I don't know. Now I'm going to tell you one other thing I did. And this is even crazier, actually. And I don't know, this one was more complex. Okay, so I was on a boat, and this is just before the Philippines. Okay, I was on a boat from, I don't remember the city, but we had taken a river boat down China, and we were down at the coast, South China Sea, and then there was a boat that went to Hainan Island, and this is before I had the accident. Okay, so there's a boat that goes to Hainan Island. Oh, no. What am I saying? This is the boat. Okay, I had taken the boat to Hainan. Then we got there, accident, the doctor, the Japanese girl, all that happened. On the way back, we took a 40-hour boat ride from Haikou. No, not from Haikou. It was a 20-hour, we were in Sanya Beach. And we took a 20-hour boat ride around the island, and then a 20-hour boat ride to Hong Kong. And so the boat was funny, because when we went from Sanya Beach to Haikou, which is another city in China on the island, that boat was full of people. So there was tons of Chinese people on the boat. The boat was packed. Like the Chinese back then, they were so poor that they would pack in 1 million people on a boat. Like, boats were sinking all the time in Asia back then. So taking a boat was pretty sketchy, even just taking a boat. But yeah, that was fun. So we're on the boat. There's a bazillion Chinese people. Like literally had to wait in line like 20 minutes to use the pisser in the morning. And there's some funny stories of that one too. But and so we got to Haikou. All the Chinese people got off. So now I'm on this big boat. It's an old. Imagine this. I'm on an old, rusty Chinese boat, and it's this weird boat. And it's me, the Japanese girl, 2 Swedish guys. We were the only people on the boat because nobody else could leave China. The Chinese people couldn't get a visa, so they had to stay in China. So they got off in Haikou, and we continued on to Hong Kong, which was not part of China at the time. And so the boat, we didn't know this, but the South China Sea is famous for being very rough. It's a very rough sea, very huge storms. Even though you're not that far from the coast, there are huge, humongous storms from that island to Hong Kong. And we didn't know that. And so, again, the guys I was with, they were smoking pot. They had smuggled weed on board that you could buy weed in Hainan, super cheap and super like a big bushel. So they were smoking weed. I was sober. I was clean. I wasn't smoking. So those guys were smoking and they were boring, right? They were super boring. And also there was 2 Swedish guys and there was a Japanese girl and me. Everybody except me was vomiting all the time because it was a huge storm. So basically the ship, imagine this, we're on this ship with no lights, pretty much. It's just like pitch black. It's insane waves. The ship is going down into the waves. It's like you can't see anything. There's like only one tiny light. It was almost like a night light. Like imagine a night light in a little boy's room. That's the light on the boat. There was no light. That was it. There was one light, and it was on the main mast. And the ship is going through this massive storm, and the waves, I can't really judge how big they were because it's pitch black outside. I surf. I'm pretty good at judging waves. The waves were, not waves, the swells were huge. Okay, so they were so huge that the whole ship would lean forward a significant degree and then boom, hit a wave. And then boom, the nose would come way the fuck up in the air. And then it would come back down. And this was not a small ship. This was a big, heavy Chinese ship, rusty ship. And they had this, I remember they had this like a disco, like a dance disco thing. And they had a crystal ball in there, like some cheesy crystal ball. Or not crystal ball, but what are they? Chandelier, the thing that spun around in the like the 70s in the disco. So they had one of these balls. And so everybody was vomiting all the time. Everybody was sick. I was the only guy who was not vomiting. I don't get motion sickness. I felt terrible, but I didn't get motion sickness. And I felt especially terrible watching them all vomit in the dormitory thing we were in. So I was like, I can't stand this. So I took the Swedish guys. I said, hey guys, let's go explore this ship. So we started exploring, and we got to where there's a door to the front of the ship, like to the deck of the ship. Now, the ship is going like boom, deep into the ocean, right? And then boom, the front of the ship would come up and block all the horizon. I mean, there was no horizon anyway because it was pitch black outside, but we could see from the light near our door, we could see that it would go way up in the air and then it would come way down. And every time that the ship came down, it went so deep into the ocean that a wave would boom, hit I shouldn't even say a wave, it's a swell. It's an ocean swell. It's very different than a wave. That's important in this story. So the swell would hit the ship and it would come over the deck like 3 feet, and it would just rush up and then it would hit where we were, which I don't know, I'm not a boat guy, so I don't know what it's called, but we were in the there's like a tower there, and then it would in the middle of the ship, and it would smash against that, and then it would rush off the side of the boat, and then the same thing would happen over and over. So I said to the guys, I said, hey, you guys, what we got to do is when the ship goes up, okay, we got to run to the front of the ship and grab onto the, I don't know what you call it. There's it's like a fence basically at the front of the ship. I don't even know the name of this stuff, but either way, there's like the front of the boat, right? And grab onto that, and then when the ship goes down, the wave will hit us. The water will come over us, and then when the ship comes back up, then we'll run back inside, and this will be exciting. So the guys, they were not too excited about this, but the one guy said. He's like, and he was so full of shit. But he goes, okay. He goes, you first. So now I don't know when I said it, I don't know if I was that serious about it because this was serious shit. I know the ocean very well. And these were massive waves. I don't know how big they were. It's hard to say. It was a big ship. They were maybe 30-foot swells. I mean, these were big swells, big waves. And they were tossing the ship around like a fucking toy. And it's pitch black, right? So I was like, oh, as soon as he said that, I was like, now, here's the complex part, is part of me is like, I wanted to challenge myself. And the other part of me was not that serious. So when he said you first, something else kicked into me. And that was the sense of not wanting to be a pussy and not wanting to back down. So to prove I said I would do it, now I got to do it, right? Kind of thing. So I'm like, oh, fuck, you know? Because, I mean, this was sketchy as fuck. It was pitch black outside. The water was pitch black. And it would just smash against the ship. And the whole ship would shake, you know? Like, these were like massive ocean swells. Like, it's so powerful. And so I thought to myself, okay, I've surfed huge waves. All I got to do is run to the front of the ship, put my hands over the top of the little, whatever you call it, the fence around the front of the ship, and hold on tight. And then, you know, the wave's going to hit me. It's going to be like surfing when you go through a huge wave. And then I'll come back. No big deal. Well, a lot of things I miscalculated on this one. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done, guys. And I don't know why I had to do it. And I wanted to tell you guys just because this is the kind of insane thing that guys do. I don't understand why we're like this. Why do we act like this? I do not know why I chose to do this. But so basically what happened was the ship went up and I started running up the deck. Okay, so as soon as I left the door, I knew I'm in the middle of a goddamn storm, in the middle of the fucking night, pitch black. The ship is in 30-foot swells. They have no safety features. There's no life rafts. There's like one or two guys up in the top driving the ship, I guess. The captain or whatever. But like they didn't know where we were. Nobody knew we were there. If I was washed off the edge, I knew there was no chance anybody was going to find me. Like there's no chance. And the thing is, it wasn't even like that because the water rushed and hit this huge metal, whatever you call it, like tower in the middle of the ship. And then it went off the side. So I would be like crushed against the metal. I mean, these were massive, massive, powerful swells. These were like diesel trucks, right? Hitting that thing. And I thought to myself, if I smashed against that metal, the odds that I would still be conscious are almost zero. And then I would go flying off into the ocean into 30-foot swells. So I'm thinking that's not going to be good. So I started running up to the front of the ship, but I miscalculated everything on this one. This was the dumbest thing I ever did. Okay, so I started to run, but as soon as I left the door, I knew there was no way back. Like there was no way. Once I started running up, there wasn't much time. Like it would hit the thing, it would go up, and then it would go down. Like there was not any time. Once I left that fucking door, that was it. I had to go to the front of the ship. It's the only way. So I started to run up the deck, but I didn't calculate something, is the deck was slippery, super fucking slippery from all those waves. And also it was China. There was no like security or safety or lawyers or anything, right? So the deck was fucking slippery. So I didn't even think I was going to make it to the deck. That's how fucking bad it was. I'm just like, I don't think I'm going to make it up there before we start heading down, and then I can't grab on. Then I'm completely fucked, right? So I thought, oh my God, I got to get up there. So I used my hands. I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm running up the deck. I'm just using like a monkey, trying to get to the front because I knew that the only way is to grab on the front. There's no way. Wait, if I'm not holding on to something, I am fucking gone, right? I am dead. I am crushed. I am in the middle of the ocean dead. And so I'm just like scrambling up the deck because I had to get up there. And I remember the ship started to go down. I remember that. I wasn't quite there. I got up there and started to come down, and that gave me that motion where I went forward. I grabbed it on the front, but I again miscalculated because I thought, I don't know why I thought this. It was so dark I couldn't see, but I thought that there was going to be a way to put my hands through the fence thing. Like there was going to be like a something to grab onto. But when I got up there, it was just like, imagine like a white slippery wall with a little like ledge on top, like around, there was like a welded, a big, imagine a snake, like snake welded on the top. And it was just barely a lump on top. It wasn't like, you couldn't really grab onto it. It wasn't like grippy. It was super slippery because they had this like, some kind of like boat, thick, there's that thick white paint. It was like that. So it's slippery. So I got to the front and I realized that there was no way I could survive. There's no way. It's impossible. Because there was nothing to grab onto. And there was no way to go back. And now the ship was going down and I could see the swells. I don't know if I could see them physically, but I could feel them. There was huge swells. I was on the front of the ship, nobody to protect me. There was nothing to hold on to. And I was going onto a swell that was like the most powerful thing I've ever seen. So I'm like, okay. So this is when I thought to myself, okay. This is when my survival instinct kicked in. I said, okay, you are not going to make it. Okay, there's no way you're going to make it. Like, I'm just like so weak on the deck of this slippery ship with nothing to hold on to. I thought to myself, I remember this, hold on as best you can, okay, and live as long as you can. That's literally what I thought. Like, as long as that is, however long that is, just live as long as you can. So I put my hands over the front of the boat, and I remember just thinking, oh my God, this is hopeless, because there was nothing to hold on to. It was just like flat. It was like both of my hands. So I was in the very front. So it was like a V shape, right? One hand to the right, left, and I put my hands over the top. And I remember thinking, my brain was, again, it went into, I knew that there was almost no hope of living, really. I had miscalculated. I had made a mistake, right? I was completely at risk. But I thought to myself, okay, relax, okay? Relax. And in this moment, you need to do the best you can. You need to calculate everything the best you can. So I put my hands over the top, and I remember grabbing onto this, almost like a wall, the top of a wall. And I remember thinking to myself, like, as I grabbed it, I felt my pinkies being important. Like, because the pinkies, they kept you like somehow balanced. Like, you would think it would be strength from your other fingers, right? Your thumb and your other, but it was the pinkies. I could tell because it was so slippery, and I was in the very front. So I thought, if the wave hits me, like, I'm calculating all this like in a zillionth of a second. I'm like, if the wave hits me directly on, and my hands are over the top, and I'm using my pinkies. I remember my pinkies. I was focused on my pinkies because they gave me the balance. Okay, because there's nothing strong to hold on to. So I had to do it with just sheer balance, like leaning straight forward and using balancing on that front of the ship. So I thought, use your pinkies and put all your strength into balancing so that you don't, because I knew that if I even got one, because it was so slippery, that if I even was a little bit slipped to the side, both my hands would come off, and I would, you know what I mean? I wouldn't make it. There's no way. So I thought to myself, balance straight forward, put your hands out as wide as you can, use the entirety of your hand to balance so that you have as much strength to pull back as possible. So when the wave's going to hit you, it's going to pull you back. So you want to be pulled back straight, because if you go even a little bit on an angle, you're going to slip off. There's no way. And I didn't think I was going to survive. I really didn't. I remember when the ship went down, and my pinkies were there, and the wave hit me. The wave didn't hit me like a wave. The wave hit me like, it was like an earthquake or a wall of concrete or the World Trade Center landing on me or something like that. It was some kind of enormous sound and pressure I've never seen before. I've never experienced this before. The amount of power of the wave hitting hitting the ship was amazing. Because the ocean on itself is powerful, but it throws you around, so you don't feel the power. This was the ocean crashing against something, like a metal ship. And the power of those two things meeting. I was right in the epicenter of this meeting of power. And so it blasted me. And I remember it hit me like, it felt like 3 feet of steel. That's what it felt like. It felt like there was no way I could hold on. But I remember I was focused on my pinkies. I remember that, especially my right one for some reason. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm definitely going to die here. This was a miscalculation. But I thought to myself, really, I almost cried in this moment. I thought to myself, try to live for an extra 100th of a second longer. Just try to live. I remember very clearly, 100th of a second longer, because you're still alive. That 100th of a second, you can still be alive. That 100th of a second. So try to live that extra, whatever it is. Enjoy that. This is all you got. This is the end. And I grabbed the water, bam, and I remember my body this was so sketchy. I remember my feet, because it pulled me straight back, right? And I remember my feet went above my head, and that was I still don't know how I somehow hold on. There's no explanation for this one. I don't understand how I was able to hold on. It doesn't make any sense. If I did this 1,000,000 times, I think I would only survive once. I think I used up my only chance on this one. It was amazing, because what happened was my feet went above my head. So imagine my hands are on a slippery fucking wall with nothing to hold on to. My feet are above my head. So that means I have no power to hold myself on. But they went above my head and they came down. It was like a rag doll. My whole body was like a rag doll, because it was so powerful. It was like pulling my bones apart. The wave was so incredibly powerful in that moment when it smashed into me and started pulling me. And I remember my legs going above my head, then down, and then I think my legs hit the deck, and then they went up above my head, and it was just like a rag doll. And then, boom, the ship started coming up. And as the ship came up, I was like, no fucking way. Because it was easy to get back. Because then I could almost slide down the deck. Now, I didn't have much time to get back, because if I didn't get back in that door, then I was going to definitely die, because I was unprotected, right? So either way, the ship came down. I ran down the deck. I opened the door. I closed the door, and I was safe. Now, why did I have to do that? Why did I have to prove myself? And I want to tell myself too, because I did it partly out of peer pressure, because I had said, let's do it, not that seriously. And then he had said, you go first. Now, there was no way I was going to let anybody go after me, because, they weren't going to go anyway. These guys didn't have whatever it was to go. But I would never let anybody do that. Anybody listen to this, no way. The odds of you surviving are zero, pretty much. I don't even know what the fuck happened to me. I don't know. This was a miracle. This was literally a miracle. It's a well-calculated miracle, but there was nothing. I didn't have anything. And I look back, and why did I survive that? I think the only reason is I believe that the wave that hit me was a direct hit. Okay? The ship captain had faced us directly into a wave. Exactly. Not 1 degree off. When the wave hit me in the front, it hit me so straight on that I was able to use whatever power I had in my hands to pull me straight back. Because if we would have gone even a tiny bit to either side, it would have just took my hands off, because I didn't have anything to hold on to. The only power I had is my fingers over the top, pulling straight back. That's the only power I had. So it must have been an exact straight on wave. Had to be. There's no other way. There's no way. And it was literally amazing. It was literally one of the most craziest, insane things that I definitely that I've ever done on my own. That I challenged myself to. And when I say on the Ronin man is whatever, the road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom, I'm not fucking around. I'm serious. I went through the road of excess in my life. There's a lot more stories. There's a lot of crazy stuff. But those are my 3, pretty damn crazy stories, or 2 really fucking crazy stories. I don't know why I had such high testosterone as a young man. I really was just almost like an explosion. I was so full of energy. I was just I needed to challenge. There's nothing. I was angry. I was full of fucking testosterone. I was full of curiosity. I was full of confidence. I was full of just, I can do it no matter what. I'm going to do it. I was full of desire to go into the darkest, most dangerous situation. There was something in me that needed to do that. And I don't understand why. I had to do stuff like that. I don't understand why. Because that story I just told you guys, that story is 100% true. 100% exactly. The cave, Bat Cave, and also the ship, those stories are absolutely accurate, exactly how they happened. And I don't know how I survived, especially the ship one. That was insane. That was fucking absolutely insane. So I'm just kind of thinking about this and exploring this idea of why this guy, for example, is crossing Antarctica now to be the first person to go all the way across. He reached the pole. Now he's going to go down. And I look at the guy now. Here's the interesting thing. At 53, I'll be 54 next month. I look at him now and I think, why does he have to do that? Like, what is it? What is this man trying to prove? Like, his face is all fucked up. It's obviously freezing cold. No one's ever made it across before, so the odds are probably he's going to die, right? He's not going to make it, right? He's challenging the impossible. Who knows? Maybe he'll make it. That'd be awesome, Be the first guy to make it all the way across. That'd be great. I really hope he makes it. And I'm putting out my whatever juju I had to him right now. But why do guys have to do this? Did you guys have to do this? Did you know anybody who had to do this? Did you want to do this? Did you explore doing this? Did you do something like this? What was in your self that caused you to have to prove yourself, I guess, to yourself? That's the only thing I can think. I wasn't proving myself to those guys. They weren't Swedish, Danish guys. I remember now. 2 Danish guys. No. There was a Danish guy and 2 Swedish guys. That's right. There's a Danish guy. I remember that. And there was 2 Swedish guys and the Japanese girl. We were the only people on that fucking ship. And why did I have to do that? Why didn't I just say, that's insane. I wasn't serious. I'm not going to do it. Why did I have to do it? Like, I don't understand. Like my, if you listen to the motorcycle episode I did a long time ago, I was a very insane motorcycle racer. And I don't know why. I don't know why I had to do that. I had to prove myself as a man and also explore this planet. I'm an explorer, man. I am a fucking explorer. When I say explorer, I'm serious. I'm fucking serious about that. Like, I'm not fucking around on that. And I like true challenges. And that's partly what, I guess, made me what I am, who I am. My brother is not like me. My brother's fucking awesome, by the way. He's the fucking one of my, just turned into very important. As we've gotten older, we've just grown together. It's been fucking great. I'm watching him mature and everything. But he did not have what I had. He did not have it. He did not have that need to, he did a lot of cool shit. He saved people surfing. He literally saved a guy's life in front of me. Like, that's 100%. He saved a guy's life who was drowning. And he did many, many cool things. And he's been, like I said, a fucking awesome friend when I really needed help, But he didn't have that insane need to prove himself. And he knows he's going to listen to this episode. So he knows that this shit is true. I don't know why I was like that. I don't know. Hopefully, whatever I tell you guys and pass on to you is from that, is wisdom from that excess that I lived in my life. Because it wasn't, my real excess wasn't women. My real excess was danger and risk. Really. That was like, this was a real challenge. Fuck any women. Like, this was, any kind of like seduction is nothing. No, this is like serious man shit here. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know why I'm built like this. And I also don't know why I survived this. I don't know what it is in me. I have some kind of instinct that somehow keeps me alive. And I'm very grateful for my life, you guys. Like, I really am telling you guys, this literally is just kind of confessing something. Like, the story is long, I know, but it's like, to me, this is like defines me. I feel like this defines me. I don't know why I am this way. If anybody has any feedback about things they learned about themselves or from other people, why are we the way we are? I believe that men have to prove themselves in ways that women don't have to prove themselves. And my brand is just maybe a little, more extreme, or it has to have the death part in it, or it's not adventure for me. If I literally cannot die, then it's not adventure. Or even if I know too many people did it before me, then I know that you probably won't die, right? You know what I mean? Like if I saw a bunch of guys swim out of back cave or go up to the front of that ship, I wouldn't have been as excited about it. I like the fact that it was totally unpredictable. There was no way Las Vegas could put odds on this. Nobody knows, nobody can calculate. And there is extreme fear and risk and insane forces at work. This is what I consider fucking adventure, okay? That is goddamn adventure. And I am glad that I am fucking me. I am glad that I spent my life looking for adventure. And also, I am also glad that through that, I'm glad that I would still do that today if I needed to, okay? If I felt that way, I would do it exactly the same thing again at my age now. But this is the beautiful thing. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't need to do that stuff anymore. And I'm not saying that like I decided that. These moments come up for me. I see things. And there's that moment where I have to make that decision because these are like rare opportunities, right? They just come. And I don't, I really feel like I know who I am. I know who I am. I don't need to, if anybody doesn't believe me or doesn't understand me, it literally does not matter to me at all. And I know that I'm very strange, okay, with this stuff. But I know that there's something inside of me that I think personally, and I think every guy, you need to look inside yourself and find the beauty. Because society is telling us that we are, we're terrible, basically. We oppress people. We hate people. We you know what I mean? Like we're selfish. Everything society tells you about yourself, this is a very poisonous message to give to yourself. It's a very poisonous message from society. And I consider myself almost like a wild man in the jungle, like not part of society. I don't at all relate to or associate in my mind with society. I live in society while I'm living my life separately. That's how I do it. It's like I'm walking around and everybody thinks I'm just a normal guy walking down the street. But I know very well that if shit goes down or something happens, like I'm out of there. Like if there was a war going on, I love stuff like that. I love the excitement of guns being pulled on me, fighting, this adrenaline, this excitement, but it's much more than adrenaline. I do not accept adrenaline junkie, stupid shit. That is not me. No. This is much deeper than that. This is a man challenge of nature. Okay? This is not some stupid fucking dangerous thing that's adrenaline junkie crap you see. No, this is challenge. This is discovery, right? This is the unknown. This is a man who wants to go into the unknown and challenge that unknown. And I think that every man, has this. And if you don't feel this, I hope this episode gives you this, opens the door for you to see more who you really are as a man. Because I believe that this is part of men. I believe this. I really do. I've seen it many times. I've seen guys that I've been with who they watch me and they unlock and they discover this about themselves. I've done this many times with friends before. And Johnny Japan is one of these guys who I saw discover this primal self within him that is beautiful to see because it was there. His came out and it was just like amazing to watch. It was beautiful to watch. Johnny Japan, his masculinity, his desire, his curiosity, his everything come out. I saw it. I saw a moment. I'm not going to describe it. It's his private moment, but I saw it, and I believe that every man has this in them. You need to know you're not some fucking idiot sitting in Starbucks. Okay? That is not you. Now, that can be you. There's nothing wrong with going to Starbucks and relaxing like everybody else. But that's not me, okay? I can do it, but that ain't me. I'm always ready. I'm ready. I'm looking. This stuff is just almost like opium, you know? This society, what do you call it? Like civilization. If it all falls apart for me tomorrow, and there's like a wild, crazy 10 years of world war, I'm ready. Like I am literally ready. I'm ready to protect people that I care about, and I'm ready to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And I almost welcome it, these challenges, you know, because they teach me who I am. So, you know, I can be here, but I'm ready. I am fucking ready. And I think that's the message. As a guy, you need to know you have it in you. It is in you. It was built into you from evolution, from evolving 200,000 years. They say now humans have basically existed, Cro-Magnon, and humans, you know, made it together. And then before that, we evolved from single-cell organisms. All those challenges we carry inside of our complex being now. And men have had to survive and hunt and fight and swim and everything, and it is inside you, okay? It's inside you. There is no doubt about it. You would not be alive today if it was not inside you. You would have died. Most people died, okay? The ones that lived, it's inside you. Find that. Find that. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a fucking beautiful thing. I don't even know why you need to find it. I don't understand. Why? What's the logic? What's the reason? Money? Pride? Telling people? I don't tell people these stories. I don't know why. It's inside me. It gives me this feeling. I don't know what it is. It's something a human man living, challenging this fucking planet in the short period that he's here. This is what it's about for me, right? Not this other bullshit. That's what it's about for me. That's my eyes on that ball, okay? That's where my eye goes, okay? I can be everything else part of my vision. It can be all these other things that are just happening, like that, the Slavery of Man video where I'm walking down Hollywood, right? All that shit's happening, but my mind sees clearly the reality of myself and life, and I can see it. It could be a little speck on the horizon, but I see it. It's always there. It is always fucking there for me. I never forget that that is the heart of life. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your support recently. It has been fucking awesome. I wish you to become the man that you need to become. And it's not about becoming the man that I became, okay? This is one thing I want to clear up. Somebody sent me an email yesterday kind of hinting that my beliefs about life, my beliefs about relationships, he didn't agree with and said, this doesn't fit him. This is not about my beliefs. I tell you my beliefs. I tell you my experience. Not because you also went to the front of the ship, because I don't think anybody ever did that. But I teach you that because this is the lesson that I learned. And I want you to reach inside yourself and find the lesson that you learned. Okay? You could be very different than me. I'm like the least judgmental fucking human on the planet. I don't judge at all. It's been never part of me. I don't understand judgmental people. I look at you, I see who you are, I understand it. That's it. A lot of guys on this thing are Christian. A lot of guys are Muslim. A lot of guys are very different than me. Okay? And that is a beautiful thing. It's not about being the same, you guys. It's about finding out the deep inner self of a man, and don't accept these poison that society's telling you, that you are no good, that you are bad. Find that inner soul, and you don't have to worry about even countering what society says, because it just doesn't matter. You know who you are, and that's all you need to know. You don't need to know what other people say you are, it doesn't matter. You know who you are. You hold on to that and you move forward, right? All right, guys, I hope this has got you thinking. I'd love to hear your comments on this one. Thank you very much. If you listen to the end, fucking comment. And if you want to join in, if you want to talk to me, we go in deep your issues. Here's the deal, guys. Unblackmailable So you guys understand what the fuck what I'm doing in this VIP program. It's not about teaching you the way I am, okay? About women, about anything, okay? About ships, about caves. It's not about that. We are finding out, we are discarding the fake bullshit that we've been taught. We are getting deep into the pain, the things that are holding us back that we don't even understand, and we're discarding that, and we're finding the clues like the popcorn to find out who we really are and what we really want. And any topic on any video that I make is fine to talk about. Okay? So I think there's like almost 150 videos now. Anything in there is fair game because these videos are real, guys. These are not bullshit. This is my fucking life. I can go deep on any of these topics because it's something I experienced. So any topic in there that you find that you need to work on, you need help with, you want to go deep with, and you think this guy is the guy to talk to. This is the guy who can get me through this. I want to be that guy, okay? For many, many fucking reasons. I gain so much from talking to people and crying with people and working with people and seeing people fucking succeed where they could not see before and changing things. It just, to me, it's amazing. It is kind of what I'm talking about here. But it's a deep dive, not into danger. It's a deep dive into the dark self and discovering yourself. And that's the journey we're on. That's the fucking journey. That is the dope stuff right there. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. It's Saturday here. I'm going to yoga. Got my retirement visa. My knees hurts a little bit, but I'm going to go pound it out anyway and see what I can do. Hope you guys have a nice weekend.